and welcome to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Adingor. Hello and welcome to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. With me, Madingor. This week on Fixing South Sudan, a special interview with former Governor of Boma State, Honorable General David Yao Yao Jongkuch, and Honorable Akut Luala Rej, Presidential Envoy to the defunct Pibor Administrative Area. What is their take on the widespread rumors of a third General Yao Yao insurgency? It's my pleasure to welcome both of them to Fixing South Sudan for the first time. General David Yao Yao, welcome to the show. And I want to start with you because the talk of the week has been that you have rebelled. What is the truth about this allegation? Welcome.
Thank you so much, Madingo, and all the listeners. My brother Kolwal. My being here alone is answer to that burning question that others have met it and circulated it all over across the globe, that I have declared the third rebellion of having no private or even national agenda. So all those, to me, I term it just kind of politics that some of our politicians from our own communities have met it themselves, so that they try to fix their aids, politically maybe to this position of a greater people administrative area, because many of us have really contested so much that everybody tries to put himself or herself there as the best candidate that can be, appointed by the president. But to me, I don't think that it is advisable way to always, sway this country in these negative talks. Because if we just accuse ourselves and say Mr. X and Y has done this and that, which at the end of the day, this information are not true, then when will we say the truth as the leaders of this country? And so briefly, these messages are not true. They are just made up and founded and allegations that have been made by individuals. There are even some politicians that put their own interests. They said Yao Yao has been frustrated because he has waited for president to set up the state government, and it takes some time. That's why. So he did not, get more patient. Instead, he left and went his own way, which is not true.
Do you think
so it is not only GPA that's delayed, but it is, all over the country.
Do you think the intention is to push you into another rebellion?
Of course, there are some people of different interests. Up to now, we still have some, officials from this country who are, even the members of SPLM, they're still outside the country. And they have even defected from the SPLM as their mother party and formed their own parties. So they are looking for the ways even to, destroy this government of the Republic of South Sudan under the leadership of His Excellency President Kiir, thought that their agenda is contributed for what they wanted, which is not true. That one will never materialize.
What people say is that there's no smoke without fire. What do you say about that?
Well, sometimes there's smoke even without fire. So this one of mine is smoke actually without fire, because there's no reality there. So I did not announce it myself. So what were the reasons? I'm well off. I have a family, and I have my own property. I'm well-being with the government. I'm still even the chairperson of the SPLM in former Boma State and currently Greater People Administrative Area. Where should I again run along with these titles? Where
they are saying you did it before the first time, the second time, you can do it the third time. And maybe you can walk us as to how you went back to your area, because that is fueling this suspicion that you have rebelled. How did you get out of Juba? And there is a task force on COVID-19 that clears whoever goes out of the state, out of Juba. How did you leave Juba? That is the question.
Well, we left Juba with the arrangement of His Excellency, the CDF Chief of Defense. So that was where our arrangement together with General Arden Konkong, who is the Director of Air Defense in SSPDF General Headquarters. So our arrangement of going to Pibo was arranged under the office of CDF Chief of General Staff. So we were facilitated. Our message of going there, it was clear. Of course, we went there purposely for the two messages. One is to help those SOAS, those of General Adoch, who happen to be defected again from, from former Cobras to South Sudan, other political parties. They were all along with Thomas Trillo, and they have decided again with General Khaled to be their own, together, under the umbrella of SOAS. So finally, they decided to declare themselves to the government, and they were former members of former Cobras, of which we were, part of their former leaders. So, and we, as the SPLM chairperson in the area, so I felt I have to welcome them back to SPLM as the mother party, and also to SSPDF as the general also in this organization. So that was the one reason. The second one is, to talk to the youth. This situation really is very harsh in Pibo, following those unusual attacks from the neighboring youth, and everything is almost falling apart. There's no government in the area. So we felt also as the ringleaders of the community, so we can send the messages of peace, dissemination to the rest of the youth, so that they stay calm, they should not do things in their own way. So these are the main messages that we went there for.
Let me make a clarification. You heard that there was a brewing rebellion against the government in the Murle areas, and then you asked permission to go and quell the rebellion and to talk to the youth. This is the reason why you went. It was not to support them, but to quash the rebellion.
I think it was, if we really want to talk about rebellion in the areas of Murle, it was the one I did myself as the leader of that time. From that time up to now, we don't have any rebellion in the area.
But so, there was mobilization.
Yeah, that one is not rebellion. It was just mobilization.
There was mobilization, and you went there to stop the youth.
Actually, we went there to quench down the fire as the ringleaders of the community. There's no any rebellion there in the area since we came into the government.
There are videos that have been circulating showing that you are wearing uniform and you are commanding Cobra, and that indeed you went yourself. Now you have clarified, but they said that you went to mobilize them. What do you say about that video where you are wearing the uniform, if your intention was to go and quell whatever the situation that was there?
Well, those videos, they are just using those old videos that were existing there in March, early March. So when youth from Nuer came and attacked the area, so we happened to be sent there so that we helped the situation. So General Konkong and myself, we were there. So there were some whole, photos which I was on with the uniform. Even there were photos we took here in Bilfam when we were called, all the generals we were called to show up some activities here in Bilfam. So they took all those photos and attached it there to those videos. Those videos is not the recent one, but those were the whole existing videos that they just fixed it together so that their interest is merged together.
This happened in March, so it's not that old. And do you say, they are saying, what is the justification that a former governor would now put on a uniform? Did it mean that you were joining your people? What was the intention?
Well, our intention is, as a general, sometimes if we go and talk about, military issues, we have to appear on our uniform so that it suits with the information. If we do, political and other things, that's where we'll appear with the normal, wear. So appear in the military uniform does not mean anything threatening to the public. It was our normal military, way of doing things. So that one is just normal appearance. It doesn't threaten anybody, and we are not doing anything that harm our publics by being on the military uniform.
Let me bring in Honorable Kot Lual. For General Yao Yao to be governor. Yao Yao, you played a big role. You took a risk at some point, saying, I am going to try to convince Yao Yao to leave his rebellion and come back to the government. And so if there is any discussion about, first of all, let me just ask you, what do you make of what people are saying, that Yahya has rebelled again?
You know, the day I heard about the rumors, I called him. But I knew that these rumors were not true. I called him and I talked to him. He told me, you know, what the people are saying is wrong. I told him, okay, the first thing you need to do is to go to Bor. And then we'll look for transports to pick you up from Bor. So to me, from day one, I just disregard this information because it was just a lie. And I know, you know, when you rebel, there must be a reason for that. You cannot just pick a gun and then start fighting. First of all, you must have army. Second, you must have a vision and mission. What are the reasons you want to fight? The reason you went to Bui last time is to have their own administrative area or state. Now they have it. It's a full general now. You get more than what you asked before you went to Bush. Now, what is the reason for second or third rebellions? So to me, it was just created at least to test or to push him away anyway. This is the way I look at it.
And
But-
what would be your message to those people who are, they indeed, they want peace to prevail in the area, but they are saying that Yao Yao is part of the problem, that he went and mobilized the Murle and he came back. What is your take on
that? That one is not true. Let me clear something here. When Yao Yao went first time in March, there was attack by the Lao Nuer, and they captured Lakwangale. So Yao Yao went from here with the Kong Kong. They were coming to capture the Bibor. So they were going to, at least to protect the city, the capital city of Buma State. That was the mission because there was no government there. And then the attack came and they captured Lakwangale and they were moving close even to the capital city of Buma State. That was the reason he was sent there. And that's the reason he was wearing the uniform. So he was wearing this uniform to tell the youth, look, this is a war. If they come and attack the capital of Buma State, we must defend it. So that's the reason. But the second time when he went from here, he was not going for that because the youth were already chased away and there was no fighting. He went there for the family issues, to visit the family and talk to his family, or even to talk to the youth not to attack Bor and not to attack Nuer. Because when they attack them, they will come and attack them also. They will obey. So Yao Yao was just giving the message of peace to the youth in Buma State, and then he went to Bor also and passed the same message. So I think that was the reason.
Every time General Yao Yao name comes up, your name also comes up, and you are presidential envoy for PBOR, and people want to know what is your special connection with PBOR and with David Yao Yao?
My connection with Bibor and Yao Yao, it was when David was fighting the government. And I went there, I approached him, and I asked him to lay down the guns and then sit and discuss. And he listened to me. So we brought the peace with Yao Yao. That is my connections. And that relationship is still, because I feel like we can do, not only in Bibor, we can go to other areas also and do the same thing.
People go very far even to accuse you of supplying arms to the Murle, that you have been harboring your own agenda. Maybe you have business interests in Murle areas. You have heard of these things, and maybe Yao Yao is your business partner. Can you clear the air about these things?
Those things have no grounds. These are lies, and I believe, one thing I want to talk about it, if I'm a supporter of the government, I will not support the communities to fight themselves, unless I want to overthrow the government. But if I am supporting the government, it is not right to support one community against the other. That one will not happen, because it is the responsibility of government to protect the civilian, all of them, whether they are Dinka, Nuer, or Asholi. This is the responsibility of government to protect them. So that one is wrong. Second, where could I get guns? Because I'm not in Bill Farm or in national security, or even if I'm in national security, I cannot get a gun, or it is the gun I went and brought outside the country. Why the security don't look at it and come with the facts that a court brought the guns and he took them to this area? I should be asked by authority. So those who are creating this are just making it up, and they don't have a base on this one. These are baseless.
But why does it persist? Why do you think they continue to bring this one up? They hammer it every time and every time.
Those people who are saying this are not in the country. I think it is the social media. And social media, I think whatever they discuss there, most of them are not right. They are just creating it. Somebody can sit somewhere and then put something out there, and people pick it from there. And they talk about it before come out with analysis. What would I gain if I get the gun now and give it to Murle to go and kill Bor or kill Noer? What am I going to gain on this one? Even if, let's say, we have a business with Yao. What interest would I do if I kill Bor or Noer? Instead, I will tell them, don't fight. If you fight, this business will not continue. The business and fighting cannot go along. So people should be realistic. People should analyze before you say something. That's what. Number two, in Bibor, I think I went with you. Did you see a sign of business there? You don't see anything because those people have nothing now. Not because they don't have resources, but there is nothing there. Even bicycle, there is no bicycle there. How do we do business in that area? What kind of business? People have to be frank. My interest is this. I like to protect the small tribe, whether they are even Kashipo and Jia. This is my interest, to protect them. I feel that the role of majority is to protect the minority. So it is our job. It is your job and it is everybody's job. That's my interest.
He spoke about social media, and indeed there is a lot of discussion on social media, and he's saying a lot of it is rumors. But what I get on social media is palpable sense of anger towards the Murle, that they are the agitators, that Murle criminality is responsible for destabilization of Jonglei, both the Nuer areas and the Dinka areas. Are you aware that there is such anger against the Murle?
Well, this anger is there, and to me, I don't see it in the same perspective that the rest of the people did. What's important is because if they said if you are kicked by a donkey and you kick it back, you both become donkeys, definitely. So what you will do is there are ways that we have been trying with some of our colleagues like Akolwal, Philip Oger when he was in power, Makir Thiong, and the rest of the colleagues in Greater Jonglei. So we were trying to put our heads together so that we mobilize youth to understand themselves by creating some, kind of activity that they can do together as a youth. If at all we are well off to have chances like doing agricultural activities, we can mobilize our youth to do it together because it creates nationalism to these youngsters who do not know anything about themselves. Because they kill themselves normally in thousands, in hundreds, and so forth. So which means they even don't know that this is a loss of life. When someone loses life, so we again cannot get him or her again back. So youth does not know this. What's important is we have been initiating a lot of peace processes in Greater Jonglei so that our youth benefits in near future. Then again, so why should we again, look at the main thing is in the same way how others are? Because if raiding is happening, so the other community will still come and raid it again. If abduction is happening here in point A, then point B again has to respond it in the same way. This is not the advisable way how things have to be handled. What's important is, youth from Bo, they are well off. They are better than youth in Murles. You may find in terms of education, terms of other opportunities, they are better off. What was best approach for them to do is to introduce those positive chances that they have to their counterparts in Murle areas. so that they transform them. So instead of responding negatively the way they did it, it is not the advisable way. So this general kind of negative perspective, against Murle, it is there. But I advise my colleagues, the youth from the neighboring community, that let's see the other ways around instead of doing it in the same way that the donkey has been kicked. So let approach it in different ways. This is how I look at it.
They are
but
saying,
the anger is there.
Is it possible that Yao Yao can change? Yao Yao, who has previously committed atrocities in Greater Jonglei area, can he change to be a man of peace? And as a governor, when you were governor, what was your answer to this kind of question?
Of course, until you will be bitten by a snake, that you know that it is a snake. But for some of us, we have already been bitten. We have tested and know that this is a fire. That's why we have to change it and do it another way around. Some people who talk about this, they don't know. We fought, and we have already known that fighting and losing of the life is not the way forward. So there's, positive way of handling it. So probably there's possibility for some of us who have been happen to be negatively understood, to be the very people that can change the situation there. Because we have already, known the experience. For someone who is ignorant of this cannot do it.
The Murle-based criminality is an historical thing that has been happening over time, even when you were not there. And now that you are there, what do you think is the way to tackle this thing? Not just only if you were the governor, but for South Sudan to fix this. We speak of fixing South Sudan. How can we restore stability to that region? What is your vision for the region?
If critically someone can really look into this general situation in the Republic of South Sudan, it's almost similar. If you go to Barghazal regions, you go to Equatorial regions, you go to Upper Nile regions, some people say Jonglei alone has become another region, maybe in near future. If you go around these globes of our country, so you will find similar situation is happening. So which means there's still a very big gaps, for our youth across the country to be taken through. So, and one of the examples is what's happening in Pibo. It is simply people don't have any chances for education. They don't have any chances, to clean drinking water, to road connectivity, and rest of the, new lives, people are in now. So automatically, if people miss these chances, so let us expect multitude of problems will be happening. So for us as a group that may do something collectively, so let really not discourage, let not get discouraged by all these negative activities that have been done by our youth. So let's join together and we move to see that something at least out of many is done. Then at the end of the day, we will have all these youth on board. So chances are there. There's possibility to transform the situation.
The historical grievance was that the Murle were dominated by others, and especially in Bor, in Jonglei, after opting out with your own state. Is there any change, or is it more of the same?
Well, we cannot even talk about these chances because we were having 32 states, and now again we have 10 states. So we are still swaying. We have not yet even penetrated our route yet. Until later on, we will be fixing ourselves. That
you have your own administrative area. Is that the solution to that underdevelopment?
To me, I don't really term it is a solution now yet because there's nothing that has benefited an impacted community. Maybe in near future, maybe something tangible that we can talk about it. But now, maybe it's there, but let work hard to see that these things benefit communities. It is something general, not only in Greater People administrative area, but it is one of the concerns that our community, has been talking about, including us. But the way I look at it, there is still a long way to go.
The question I ask you is, are you for peace in that region?
I don't want to say I'm for peace or not for peace until I will do something tangible that whole, people of the Republic of South Sudan see. But I'm trying hard to be one of the members.
Are you for war or you are for peace?
So, it says you will determine the tree according to its fruits. So you will not just see leaf and say this is, a tamarind tree and papaya tree until you test it. So to me, I want to be tested so that I will be determined whether I'm for peace or for war. But I'm working at myself to join with the rest of the colleagues that are working for peace.
So you are saying there's a possibility of a relapse to war. You are leaving your options open.
No, I don't really encourage that. Because, politicians normally don't want to say the truth and say, right to the negative part of it, which tomorrow may surprise people in another way around. To me, I want to be seen by action, not by justifying myself just in front of the camera and the rest of the listeners. So I'm working hard to be one of the members in this board of initiating peace
You
in the
want to
Republic
be
of South Sudan.
judged by your actions,
Yes.
not your words.
Yes.
And Honorable Kodwal, I have to bring you in here because when you took that chance or that risk to convince David Yao Yao, and now we are in Juba speaking about how to restore peace in the area, when you made that decision, there were a lot of criticisms.
Yes.
And do you say that your decision was the correct decision, that you push for peace and Yao Yao? Okay, what is the contribution for Yao Yao towards peace as far as you are concerned?
You know, the Yao Yao have saved a lot of life. You know, if we join Riek that time, I think we are going to feel the effect here in Juba. But he didn't join Riek, and he accept peace. And from that time also, he was not fighting the government. He stopped fighting. And then he joined the government. That alone has saved the government of South Sudan life. And he has saved the government to be where he is now. If he joined Machar and then Nuer or White Army come from Lao, I think we are going to be in mess, big mess. So that one alone, I appreciate Yao Yao have taken that advice, and he listened to me, and we sat down and talked. And my first thing I told him when I went to him, I told him, look, you are young, you are age mate. We don't want to follow what our elders are doing. Let us sit down and talk. And he listened to me. And the reason he was listening to me is because he's my age mate. So we want to change the direction of war, and people negotiate and talk. Coming to the table and talk should be the way forward now, and then abandon the issue of rebellion. And that's the reason I was telling you that Yao Yao didn't rebel, because I know what we discussed and what we have agreed to do on the way forward now. Fighting is not a solution, and I think that was what brought us together at that time.
As we speak, they have been fighting, reported in many areas of Greater Jonglei by the Murle, and there is that suspicion, there is that anger and finger pointing. What will it take to end all that?
What it will take, it needs all of us, including you. One, Murle, since the creation of this world, or of Sudan, or South Sudan, they have never had a chance for development in that area. And the way to change Murle is through education and through the developments. If they have a road now in Bibor or Buma, they can bring their car all the way to here to sell it and do business. If you have a school there, you take the children to school, and then they will change from being a warriors to be peacemakers. It is a school that can help. But if there is no school, and then the child is born today, and he will see what his father is doing, and he will do it, because that is the way of life. Who will change that? It is you and me. It is the youth who have opportunity in Bor and Akobo and some other neighboring to transform these people.
Transformation as an idea for fixing South Sudan.
Yes.
And fixing South Sudan is something we discussed before. And you remember when I asked, are you going to fix South Sudan after destroying South Sudan?
Of course.
And people are saying, how can this infighting, this cattle raiding, these abductions be brought to an end once and for all? What would you say is the way forward?
Well, I just wanted to pick up from where you stopped. This story of destroying and fixing it, it is engineering terms of buildings. You know, if you want to build a better house after the first one, I happened to be in Nairobi one time. There were those narrow roads that have been made in Nairobi town during time of Jomo Kenyatta. And you see at this time of his son, the current president, Uhuru Kenyatta, like also in Kampala. So they have destroyed all those ones, and they made very wide roads.
Before.
So which means, you know, change is, you know, gradual process. So it can be started now where technology stops. Many say it's like that. So we will also build on it. So still things can be destroyed and also can be also fixed. So to me, as I said before, there's joint hands, as my colleague said, Comrade Akolwal, that it is you, it is me, it is others to join together so that we stop this issue of cattle rustlings or raiding, child abductions and all this. But sometimes it becomes part of lives of those communities. It is a gradual, it is historical kind of events. Though it is negative, it has been existing, long time ago. So what is important for us to change that mentality? So we need to come with, a peaceful and positive kind of approach. How do we educate our communities to abolish this issue of child abductions? So how do we, sometimes I tried myself, I fought with them. So, and it has never happened for one of the leaders to fight with, their own sons so that they get back the abducted children and get back the raided cattle.
You lost your bodyguards.
I did it myself. I lost some of my bodyguards, about 8 of them, and more wounded. So then at the end of the day, at least you get something out of it. If you want to shape a kind of metal into the way you want it, you need to burn it sometimes. So you burn it until it becomes red, and then you will shape it the way you want it. So what I want to say is, if things sometimes does not work well, peacefully, as the government, let us also, try it another way around. That's why we are government. Government means power. So there's need for us to join with the national government so the disarmament process is done with the youth. Because it is this kind of heavy armament.
Actually, you have mentioned an important point. Would you say to bring peace to Greater Jonglei, disarmament, and to South Sudan, disarmament should be the
We
focus?
have to disarm because there's this random kind of light guns in the hand of civil population. So we need to disarm them so that as a government we have voice into it. But if they still have guns, you will always experience a bloody kind of approach, which we don't really advise it to happen. Many have tried it, but it takes some time.
The last time, the greater Bor areas have been disarmed, the greater Law areas, there have been resistance to the disarmament, and same thing in the Korfluz areas, there was disarmament. The last time disarmament was attempted and General Kwaldim was in charge, this was the time of your second rebellion.
Yes.
Are you now saying it can be done because you have come on board?
Well, if we don't have many rebel leaders in the bush, so that could be also another closing of the gate of flying in the guns, and among many other the tight kind of administrative management within the military administration, so that this kind of gun should be controlled by our military, national army.
And the disarmament you are talking about, do you accept it for it to start first with the Murle? Everyone else is saying the Murle are the agitators. Would you accept that the disarmament starts with the Murle youth, or should it be simultaneously in other places?
I think, to me, if everybody speak where he stands or she stands. I'm standing in Bibo, choose. That's why I talk about people. So I have to start where I am, and then my brother has to, or my sister has to start where she is. Then we join together at the end of the day. So it has to be a general kind of work that has to be done, but everybody might start where he or she is.
You are willing to be part of the solution?
Of course. To me, I see, as I was in the field, I see one of the possibilities that we can try at least, and youth can listen if we do disarmament.
General David Yao Yao Jongkuch, the former governor, Boma State, and Honorable Akut Luala Rech, presidential envoy to PBOR. Thanks for being in the show.
Thank you.
Republic, when it